Welcome everybody. In tonight's episode, we'll be taking a look at not this tin, but what is inside this tin here. A little spare tin I had holding stuff. I'll throw that over here. We got an Altoids tin. What's inside the Altoids tin? We have wrapped up something or another. Throw that off to the side. This is the Gerber Dime. We're taking a look at the Gerber Dime this episode. I've been going down the rabbit hole of small multi-tools lately, and recently saw a good deal for a Gerber Dime on eBay and decided to snatch it up. And this came, I would say, mint condition, brand new. So it's a tiny little tool. Let's get some size comparisons out of the way here. This is a Victorinox Rambler, basically the classic SD, just one layer thicker, but it gives you that length comparison there. The Olight Otical P1, which is basically the next tool mini Sailor, so you can kind of see the sizes here. Also the Leatherman Style CS, very similar. And out of all of these, I would say that it's, while kind of chunky, it's not too bad compared to some of these. I'd say it's about the same as, if not just a wee bit thicker or thinner than the Olight multi-tool. So, what do we got in the Gerber Dime here? Starting off with the outside accessible stuff, which on a small tool like this, to have outside accessible gear is really nice. I will say that right off the bat. I am enjoying this tool more than I thought I would. I always thought it was kind of a joke when I looked at it, but now that I've got one, I see the appeal. So off the bat, we have the bottle opener, bottle cap lifter. Looks like it'll do really good. I haven't had any bottles with bottle caps lately, so I can't test bottle caps. We'll get to that one day. I might do a video down the road doing just bottle caps. Who knows? Bottle cap lifter also kind of doubles as a keychain hook, but it has technically another secondary key ring over here, which is smart if you're doing bottle caps. You don't want to take the tool off the clip just to open a bottle. You kind of want to have it there and ready to go. So it looks flimsy, but it's actually pretty strong for a little clip like this. This little split ring here, that's actually pretty strong. Surprised at that. One of the main tools out here we have is a parcel package opener with a chisel ground edge for tearing through packages like that. Could possibly double as a bit of a flathead driver. Haven't tried it for that yet, but I'm kind of, worried about it being so thin right there, being a small multi-tool and all. But a good, solid little parcel ripper. And I'm surprised at the detent on these tools for it being this small, how good the detent is on this. Now, I don't know, Gerber seems to have kind of mismatched quality control, so yours might be a little looser, might be a little tighter. We'll just have to workshop that. The main blade, and I'm going to pause here for a second and whip out some other comparisons here. We're going to take the classic SD main blade, very similar in length, very similar in, not actually, I'd say the Gerber's a little bit thinner than the classic SD by just a smidge, which is kind of surprising. You would think that it'd be a little bit thicker, but it actually looks a little thinner to me. The knife on the Olight multi-tool, which I recommend the Olight multi-tool. This thing is fantastic. Just a wonderful tool altogether. For about the same price as a Gerber Dime, you get a little bit more functionality out of it. I think it's worth looking into if you're ever in the market for a small keychain or fifth pocket multi-tool. The knife on the Leatherman Style CS, very similar. We'll get the Victorinox out of the way here. Very similar. Leatherman's actually a little bit thicker. nice to see, but hard to find these guys going around right now. So you got to get what you can. And currently the Gerber dime is still available from what I see. At least easily available new on eBay. I haven't checked Gerber's website in particular. But it's this neat little sheep's foot blade, very small. Nothing on this tool locks. It's all slip joint stuff. So should be legal pretty much wherever you carry it. So you guys across the pond over in Britain, maybe consider getting a Gerber dime if you're wanting a small plier-based multi-tool. And we'll get to the pliers here in just a bit, because there's something about them that I actually do like quite a lot. The next tool here, the scissors. This is probably the worst tool on this tool. They're not bad, because I will take like part of a phone card here and cuts through stiffer stuff nice and easy. But the moment you try to go for anything softer like paracord, it just snags and jams. You got to hold the cord tight, and mine, it does not cut paracord, but it cuts paper and cardboard, cuts that stuff really, really well. So if scissors are a secondary thought to you, maybe get this. And if you're going to cut the rope, go with a knife, because this is actually very, very sharp. I would recommend cutting, hiccups. I'd recommend cutting with the knife more than the scissors. The scissors are just garbage enough that if Gerber sees this, swap it out for a bigger file or something, a flathead file, or like a long needle, all poker, reamer, something or another, something different, something unique. Scissors, I love having scissors as a secondary tool. I love having it, but if you're going to do such a crappy job on it, do a different tool. But the crappiness of the scissors does not overshadow anything else on this tool. This tool is really quite spectacular all in all, and I think it's worth consider getting. So, main flathead driver, kind of at an angle here, kind of tapered down. Very good flathead. I love the flathead. Great flathead. Very small, good detent. The small flathead / 2D Phillips is great. But the thing that confuses me is they put a file on here, and the file is just confusing, because it's not enough file to do anything with. Like, yeah, I can file down my nails, but it's like this tiny little thing that is just like an afterthought, and then the nail nick takes up half the one file. Just forget the file, just make it the flathead driver. Save yourself the effort. I love having a file on a multi-tool, but that is not worth it. But it doesn't take away from the Phillips. This is a good Phillips driver, a good small flathead driver. Probably would kind of work on eyeglasses. I am not sure. Might be small enough to be an eyeglass driver there. And the last outside tool is a tiny pair of tweezers tucked into the scale. And while shorter than Victorinox tweezers and angled at the tip compared to Victorinox's flat at the tip style, I would say that these from Gerber have a little bit, while still cheap, and I would recommend getting a proper pair of tweezers if you're wanting to carry a pair of tweezers all the time. This is still actually really, really good. The metal is actually a little bit thicker, a little bit springier than the Victorinox ones, and I think Gerber trumps Victorinox on this particular tweezer. Just a little bit more heavy duty for a type of tweezer like this. Very, very surprising at how good they did with these. Stuff them back in. Very tight fitting too, like you're not going to lose the tweezers on this. Now for the big reveal, the spring-loaded pliers. These things are surprisingly good. I am impressed with what all these are capable of doing. If you look, there is a bit of a gap between the teeth here towards the tip. That's fine. I think it's made that way so that it pinches more evenly and stuff. The wire cutter is actually a pretty decent little wire cutter. And what I like about the tip being the way it is here, having that gap in the teeth, is as the tip wears down, it'll still stay in contact over time. Whereas some of these tools like this one, where the tip could wear down and you're not getting as far, it still has a little bit of a gap. But, you know, I feel like Gerber really has the getting into tighter spots and grabbing something and pulling it out kind of mentality better than other small multi-tools. So, while I love Olight Otical, you know, I think the pliers on the Gerber Dime are going to be just a little bit better. And also the spring loading of the spring-loaded pliers, the Gerbers are a little bit stronger, a little bit stiffer, a little bit more resistance in your hand, which is nice. Although, honestly, I'm fine either way. I don't care if I have spring-loaded or gravity pliers, where the pliers are just loosey-goosey. But, you know, if you're going to do spring-loaded, these are good spring-loaded. I haven't had a problem with these yet. You can see maybe a little bit of a rubbing off of the black on the wire cutters there, where I've cut some wires. It works good on small household wires. You're not cutting battery cables with this, by the way. I know enough on battery cables to not even try. Those are too big for this little guy. Go get cable cutters for those. But for household wires, you got to fix an outlet. You could change an outlet at home with this tool. And that is kind of a little standard I like to have, is household repairs, an outlet. Can you fix something as simple as a light switch on your wall with these tools? And most of these you can. This one's probably the one that I'd say you can't, because that is just not going to do flatheads too well. You don't have any flathead drivers on here. Now I do have the 3D printed little bit here to extend and add the Leatherman 2D bits, but most of these other small multi-tools I have can do a light socket with some capabilities. I like the beefier pocket tools. This is kind of pushing it for a small Victorinox, but, you know, that is a little metric that I have, is can you do a light switch with this tool? And I think you can. I've done enough light switches in my day. I think I could do that with this. I would prefer, naturally, a better tool. If I had to do a light switch, I'm going for a full-size Victorinox with these two parts right here at a minimum. Just bigger, beefier, going to feel like you're doing the job better, even though this would do the job. So, I am surprised with the Gerber Dime. Always saw it, always kind of thought it was a bit of a joke. Held off from buying it because I saw these other multi-tools that I thought were better. And I think, while this is still probably going to be my favored fifth pocket multi-tool if I'm going light or something, this is going to ride in my pockets a lot more than I thought it would. I'm surprised with just how good this is, despite the two things that I kind of consider wrong with it. The scissors could have been better, and the file is just, why? Why do the file? Forget the file. But I love the little 2D Phillips tiny flathead. That is great as it is. Just the file is just there if you need it, I guess. So, that is the Gerber Dime, coming in at around 20 to 30 bucks, depending on when and where you buy it. Currently, when I bought this on eBay, I got it for about 15, so lucky deal here, compared to how things go. But for about 20 bucks, 22 bucks maybe by now, Olight Otical, very similar tool set, and I'll do a video down the road of my small multi-tools, and you'll get to see a little bit more of what all they have, comparing them around. So, this is the Gerber Dime. Great little tool if you're considering getting one. I recommend it. It's pretty great. If you're getting it solely for the scissors, I would say go with a classic SD or a Next Tool Mini Sailor. Where did you go get that? Just for the slightly bigger, beefier scissors like that. That is just really nice to have. I don't recommend Leatherman anymore because they discontinued the Squirt PS4. The Micro seems to be in trouble. It's just a bonfire show over there. It's just, forget it. Olight and Next Tool are two brands I highly recommend. Victorinox, of course, Swiss engineering at its best. But if scissors are not your thing, this little guy right here, why am I going off center of the screen? That's going to annoy half you people out there. Sorry about that. Get that. I recommend it. I actually recommend this little tool. I think it's worth looking into. If it's your first multi-tool, this is a great starter multi-tool. Pliers are really surprisingly good. I have seen a video on YouTube, I forget who it was, but he showed his Gerber having broken, and he didn't show it cutting the thing and actually breaking. I'm not saying the guy was lying about it being broken. It could have actually broke, but he was showing this tiny little wire, a bit thicker than this, about 3-4 times thicker than this. And he's showing that the spring that would lock the plier head here at the base had bent out, and it was just limp and loose. And it was like, I'm sorry, but I don't really believe that you busted it that way. This tool is a little bit more durable than you think. I've cut small wire. I've cut household wire up to like, what was it, like 14 gauge, 15 gauge, or not, doesn't do odd numbers, just even numbers. 12 gauge, I cut 12 gauge. You had to push it into the cutter a little bit. It kept wanting to slip out as you cut down, but pushing it in and cutting down, it cut. So, with that said, it's a good, durable looking little tool. It's going to be right in my pockets quite a lot. So, thank you for watching this video. Hope you found it useful and informational. Hope it helps you build your EDC to your standards. And until the next time, a farewell, carry well, and a bye-bye.